Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM, and if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, how about giving this video a like and maybe subscribing to the channel to help us grow and perhaps even check out our Patreon. Today we're going to be taking a look at another miniature steam engine, but this one is not one that has come from across the seas. Oh no, and nor is it one that was made this millennium. Today we're looking at this boxed Mamod SE2. Now, I own 8 Mamods, but out of that, only one of them is boxed, so this is genuinely exciting. And whilst this is rather beaten up, it is quite exciting. It's nice to have all of the instructions on the side of it, explaining how it works, and a little diagram here showing the engine itself. And that's also useful, showing you the regulator position on it. And spinning it around to this side, there are the general hints. My favourite one is the do not run the engine on a polished table. I guess because it vibrates, it could, scratch the table. It also has the original name here for Mamod, being Marlin's Engineers Limited. Now, the box has clearly seen better days with the top broken, but it's still a nice thing to have. So let's open up that and see just what we've got in here. Well, this is the Mamod SE2, Steam Engine 2. And what differentiated this one away from the Steam Engine 1 was this one has an exhaust regulator and is fitted with a whistle, which is proper cool. This is an exhaust regulator. In this position it's open, but if we bring it like that, that will be shut. You can also see there's clearly been some work done to the cylinder here, and that's been rebrazed. The SE2 was in production in one form or another all the way from the 1930s up to the late 1960s. This is a late 50s, early 60s model because the engine here is the same that was used on the SE3, although that had two of them side by side to be a two-cylinder engine. This is a different model to the one on the box because that had a different burner, and this one is from the model from the 1950s, whereas the round one shown on the box is from the late 40s into the 50s. This is very definitely the wrong engine for the box. You'll notice here are the little bits that are cut out to hold this burner in place, but on the box you can see there are little cutouts to hold the round burner in place, so these are clearly different products. It's also obviously had a hard life and been used because that is a flathead screw. This is not the standard filling plug for a Mamod. This is normally a little thing that you can unscrew with your finger rather than a screwdriver. The big claim to fame on this engine is that the steam pipe goes up and then underneath the boiler, going through the fire, superheating the steam before coming out and running down to the cylinder. This means that we should be running on dry steam by the time it gets to the cylinder rather than wet steam, so it shouldn't prime as much. That exhaust steam, having gone through the exhaust regulator, goes up the pipe and ends up going to the chimney, so this should smoke in a realistic fashion. It also features here a little divot for you to put oil in to lubricate the piston, and I think that's actually proper smart. This is known as a single oscillating steam engine, and it's very simple. When it's in this position, the steam ports line up in the cylinder and it pushes this way. Then momentum brings it round, the steam is exhausted in this position, and it comes round and fires again. It means that the cylinder has only one power stroke per revolution. So it will go chuff, chuff. Because of this, it means it has to run quite fast to conserve momentum. The other thing I really like is the fact that Mamod is stamped on the crank there to let you know that it is definitely a Mamod. This example has obviously been well used and well loved. You can see here it should say Mamod on the side, but just there you can just about make out it says made in England, although the rest of the sticker has now gone. The other super nice thing that this came with is inside this envelope, and this is the little product leaflet that came with it originally, showing the other engines in the range at the time and some of the accessories. I think that's super neat. That's just a really lovely thing to have. I don't know how many of these are. I reverse Google imaged this and it came up with nothing, so what a lovely thing to have. And also I've got the minor one and I've got the minor 2. I've got the SE3. I've now got an SE2, although the SE1 I don't have and I'm likely to get. There was a very similar version to this made. It lost the exhaust regulator and got a reverser instead, so you could change the direction of it. I wasn't such a fan of this because although you can go forward or backwards, it then just runs away at full power, whereas this one, we should hopefully be able to regulate the steam enough to get it chugging over nice and gently so you can hear each stroke as it goes chuff, chuff, chuff. Now, this I found on a well-known auction website and acquired for myself because I'd fancied one of these for a while. It is, as I said, late 50s, early 60s vintage. Not really sure because the box is wrong, but having looked online, around there. And it does have this rather suspect end fitted to it. However, we're going to find out if this thing runs. It's clearly run before. It looks to be in half decent nick, so let's fill it up with some water and see what happens. So let's get this ready to go. First up, we're going to take the safety valve off. And then we give this a push to make sure that's all going to actuate properly and release pressure. Have a quick look at the rubbers. They actually look okay. This looks fine. And then we'll need something that I don't normally need on a Mamod, and that's a screwdriver to undo the rear filler plug. And we pour out some distilled water to fill the boiler with. Drop in the funnel. And then we fill up the boiler by pouring the water into the boiler. This doesn't have a gauge glass. What it does have is a little hole 3/4 of the way up the back of the boiler. So when the boiler is 3/4 full, water will come out of the little hole, and that lets you know that it's at the 3/4 mark. And the reason we're using distilled water is it's got none of the minerals in it that tap water has, and so it's kinder on the boilers. And there we go. And that's at the 3/4 full mark. So we'll put the filler in the end. So we'll do that up to reseal the boiler. And then it's remove the funnel and reinstall the safety valve. Screw down nice and tight like that. Next up, we remove the burner. And now to fill up the burner with methylated spirits. The best thing about these burners is if you overfill it like I have, the base plate is full of holes, so it just goes through and sets fire to the table. And now ignition. So whilst that's coming round, we're going to put a tiny blob of steam oil into that hole like that. Then I'm going to add some of my locomotion oil just to the crank here, across in there, and in there to give that proper smooth running. And already we can see we have signs of life with the whistle valve leaking. Hey! If you listen really carefully, you can hear the sounds of life. So also we can see steam starting to come in here. So we've got live steam coming through this pipe that's been stopped by the cylinder and this valve here. The piston is now starting to want to work. Oh, listen to it, it's really starting to go now. The big thing about superheating as well is this pipe here is going to have higher pressure steam in it than that in the boiler because it's been heated again. Oh, we have bubbling on the safety valve. Does the whistle work? Does the engine work? Oh, that's great. So can we control the speed? We can. That's brilliant. That is about as slow as it's going to go. The nice thing is, though, we get this proper steam coming out of the chimney. And because it's superheated, there's no condensate in there. Safety valve there doing its thing. A fair bit of steam escaping from the join there, but we're not going to complain. Yep, that is categorically as slow as it will get, just about kicking over. The obvious downside of all of this is hot. The regulator there is hot, the whistle is hot. It's all hot. So the safety valve is quite busy, so let's see what the whistle's like. Very chill. But also, the boiler is easily producing enough steam to run the engine and the whistle. Oh wow, that is really shrill. So during a run, this thing uses about 80 millilitres of water, which isn't a huge amount considering it runs for about 15 minutes. Obviously, if you heat the water up first, you're going to get a longer run time. This is why I like having the regulator fitted to it, because if not, it will just run away like this at full power. course, the best thing about these is they were designed to be used. It's on a Meccano base. You were meant to be able to strap Meccano to it and power your own models. Just to point out, there is live steam coming down this pipe to this face. So if you do this, so this is the seal against the boiler. And so as soon as that moves and you can push that into the push position, the steam will go into there and expand, and then it gets resealed as that moves. So there we go. Now that it's cooled down enough to be able to pick it up, that brings us to the end of this video looking at the Mamod SE2. And frankly, I think this is brilliant. It's got so much more play value having the little exhaust regulator there. The fact you can actually control it and get it so it chuffs over, just is so much better. Now, the steam engine one, the one that's the more basic version that doesn't have the whistle or the regulator, unless you're running something with it, once you fire it up and it's going, you just sit there and go, steam engine. Whereas this one, the challenge of getting that just right makes it actually a bit of a challenge, and I've really enjoyed running it. And frankly, isn't it amazing to have something that's going to be, well, at least 70 years old at this point, still chugging along doing what it's meant to be, a steam engine that still works. It just shows how beautifully simple it is. And they really don't make them like they used to. And they really don't for twofold. A, Mamod don't exist anymore, and B, the engines they were making were saturated, wet steam engines. So that meant that the steam pipe came straight off the top here and went to the cylinders, rather than going down back through the flame and getting dried and having additional energy put into it, like this thing. This is a superior machine. I really, really love it. And actually, given the choice, I'd say find yourself one of these on a well-known bidding website and run one of these rather than getting one of the later models. Unless it's got a double-acting cylinder, of course, in which case that's awesome. But there we go. One of the oldest engines that I've run on the channel, and I think it's superb. So get yourself one of these because it's great, and realistically they don't cost an awful lot of money, and they just work. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this video looking at this thing, how about checking somewhere over there for another video doing a live steam review, or down there for one of the disastrous engines that's been sent to me from a company across the sea. And with that, thank you all very much for watching. Let me know what you think about this thing in the comments below, and we'll see you next time for something else equally exciting, I hope. Ta-la! Let's get that ready to go again.